Part 16. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 151. Chapter 151 Escape from Control. I was so scared at the time that I didn't react for a while. Feng Shuang answered directly without thinking. Fen Ling raised her lips. Really? Then please explain to me again why you didn't react for so long from when I killed your mother with a knife to when your father was killed. Feng Shuang, do you think everyone is a fool? Fen Ling's words made many people think deeply. Indeed, there are loopholes in what Feng Shuang said. Even if you are afraid, if you encounter such a situation, your first reaction should be to stop, instead of standing aside and watching. What's more, the victim is still Feng Shuang's parents. Such an explanation makes no sense whatsoever. I was preparing to cut the cake at that time, and you were standing behind me. Do you have any objection to this? No, Feng Shuang didn't know what Fen Ling wanted to do. Fen Ling became even weirder after he came out, so she could only cope with the changes by staying the same. Then let me ask you again, did I attack when the cake was being cut? Yes, Feng Shuang nodded. Fen Ling raised her lips and continued to ask calmly, next question, when I cut the cake, should all of your attention be on me? Since I want to kill someone, why don't I choose a time when everyone's attention is not on me to do it, but choose this time instead? This doesn't seem like the most favorable time period to me. Isn't it? I don't know. Feng Shuang looked a little flustered, as if something was getting out of her control little by little. She has no way to stabilize her expression now. You really don't know, because at that time, when I was cutting the cake, you pushed me while I was unaware, and used my hand to insert the knife into your parents' bodies. Fen Ling said coldly. Similarly, because they were unprepared for the sudden incident, Feng Tian and his wife did not react, so they gave you a second chance to kill. On that day, I should have been able to escape, but unfortunately, I was injured, which resulted in the current result. Every word Fen Ling struck at people's hearts. Everyone looked at all this in stunned silence. How could this be possible? This is too reverse. 3 years ago, everyone laughed at Fen Ling for a long time, but now they are shocked. So, in the end, is Fen Ling the most innocent one? Ye Qinghan gently held Fen Ling's hand and patted her comfortingly. He knew very well how much courage it took for Fen Ling to stand here today, not because she faced the outside world, but because she had to face her own heart. Let yourself accept the fact that Feng Tian and his wife have no feelings for him. Miss Fen Ling, you have to speak with evidence. You don't have evidence. I can sue you for slander. Pan Li finally had a chance to interrupt. Fen Ling's statement was completely different from Feng Shuang's, but she believed Feng Shuang more. After all, Feng Shuang was on her side. Pan Li's words made Feng Shuang's eyes light up. Yes, you don't have evidence, so you can't prove anything. You were the one who killed your parents in the first place. Why did you blame all this on me? According to what you said, I should have been the one who went in. You should hate me. Why did you have to squat for me for 3 years? Fen Ling, you shouldn't say that you are a great philanthropist. Yes, I am indeed a good person. At the beginning, no evidence was found to prove it, so it could not be overturned. Also, you are right, we are related by blood. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 152. Chapter 152 The Truth. If it weren't for blood, you should be the one who stayed in prison these 3 years, Feng Shuang. 3 years ago, I told myself that in 3 years, I would pay off the debt of blood. Now I owe no one. The girl's eyes were clear and transparent, but there was a hint of exhaustion that everything was over. Feng Tian, I don't owe you anything anymore. Now, it's time for Feng Shuang to pay me back. Fen Ling closed her eyes, feeling inexplicably sad in her heart. She looked at Wen Xiao and said, "It's time to start." Wen Xiao nodded, "Since we are in court, everything we say must be supported by evidence, so now, I will show the evidence." Evidence. Evidence was actually found. I remember that the police searched for it for a long time but couldn't find it. Lawyer Wen is really good. There were whispers below, but Wen Xiao knew clearly that all the evidence was found by Feng Ling alone. One person found him, one person found the evidence, and one person vindicated himself. She controls everything. When Feng Shuang heard the word evidence, her face turned pale and her body was shaking. Evidence. Did they really find evidence? No, it was impossible. She went to see it several times later. The few cameras around were all old. After so many years, the bad ones had long since broken. Besides, the surrounding residents have been demolished and moved over the years. No one will see them, and there are no witnesses or physical evidence. How did Feng Ling and the others find the evidence? Zhang Qinzi felt Feng Shuang's nervousness and held her hand. "Don't worry, they won't produce any evidence." Yeah, Feng Shuang's eyes flashed and she nodded, but her heart became more and more restless. With the judge's consent, Wen Xiao inserted the USB disk into the computer. Soon, a not too clear picture was displayed. There was no sound on the picture. The surveillance back then was not too high-end, so the picture was generally very vague. Ordinary residents cannot afford expensive surveillance at home. However, even so, everyone can see from the surveillance that there is another girl standing behind the girl cutting the cake, and when the girl cutting the cake picked up the knife, she pushed her behind. It was a tragedy. Cause. Based on what Feng Shuang said just now, it was her sister who took the fruit knife. So it is obvious that the girl behind Feng Ling is Feng Shuang herself. Whether there was an uproar inside or outside the court, no one thought that the truth of the matter would be like this. At that time, everyone thought that no one would protect their murderer. Even parents would not be so partial as to protect a murderer and send his other daughter away. No one thought of this possibility, but this possibility really happened. Oh my God, Feng Shuang is so scheming. I remember what happened back then. The whole world was scolding Feng Ling. She had been insulted for 3 years, and now she is looked at with colored glasses when she comes out, but the real murderer is sitting back and relax. I can't understand what her parents are thinking. Does good grades determine everything? She's going to risk her life and she still accuses her innocent daughter. If her sister is a daughter, then she's not a daughter. Disgusting. I don't even know how Feng Ling has spent the past 3 years. It makes me feel chilly to think about it. It's my parents. Whether he or she was involved in the events that year, everyone was shocked by this incident. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 153. Chapter 153. Year after year. Feng Shuang stood there. She felt Tian Hui's shock and anger, and Zhang Qinzi's scrutiny of her. The evidence was conclusive, and Pan Li couldn't save it even if she had words. She lost this game, completely. She clenched her fists tightly and had no energy to think about anything else, because what she would have to accept next was a more severe punishment from the law. Brother Qinzi, I still have something to do, Aunt Tian, let's go first. Zhang Qinzi is a very powerful person. In today's situation, it is basically impossible for Feng Shuang to restore his reputation. Then, he now needs to reconsider his engagement with Feng Shuang. After all, the Zhang family does not need a tainted daughter-in-law. Zhang Qinzi turned his gaze to the girl opposite, who seemed to have only one expression from beginning to end, that was bland, neither happy nor sad. It is like a doll, but it has an extraordinary temperament. I have to say that compared to Feng Shuang, Feng Ling is actually more suitable to be the daughter-in-law of the Zhang family. Now that the stain on Feng Ling has been completely cleared, Feng Ling will be the best choice for the Zhang family. Zhang Chenzi's eyes couldn't understand why Feng Shuang didn't understand. It was because he understood so well that he felt heartbroken. She put all her feelings on Zhang Chenzi. For Zhang Chenzi, she had no contact with Fu Su during this period of time, but he abandoned her as soon as he said he wanted to. He didn't even care about her. Feng Shuang even doubted whether Zhang Chenzi had ever liked her, or whether he only liked her because of her status. Now that her identity is gone, he doesn't want her anymore. When Feng Shuang realized this, tears fell directly from her eyes. She looked at Feng Ling, her eyes filled with bloodshot eyes. Feng Ling, why? Why on earth? Why do you hate me so much? No hate, Feng Ling said lightly. Feng Shuang, from the beginning to the end, you are the one who is full of hatred in my heart. And she just doesn't want to bear a reputation that shouldn't belong to her for the rest of her life. It belongs to everyone, regardless of good or bad. She will not grab or allow others to hand over things that do not belong to her. No matter who the other party is. You have been in jail for 3 years. Why can't you forget this matter? Why do you still drag me into this? Feng Ling, from childhood to adulthood, do you know what I have experienced because of you? Feng Shuang roared. Everything he had experienced seemed to appear in front of Feng Shuang again and could not be erased. Shuang, you have to study hard and get into a good university. Only in this way can you give your parents credit. You can't imitate your sister, she is hopeless. Shuang, you are about to take the high school entrance examination. I won't allow you to sing anymore. Also, the 3 years of high school are very important and there is no room for sloppiness. Just stop singing. It's not too late to start singing after the college entrance examination is over. What, you want to make singing a career? Feng Shuang, are you crazy? Why don't you want to order something good all day long, and you want to be an actor on that stage? Your sister is already like this. If you do this again, do you still want us to live? These are the words, year after year, day after day, no matter how hard she tries, these words will not leave her ears. Feng Ling, do you know how much I envy you? You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want, they won't care about you at all. What about me? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 154. Chapter 154. The truth comes to light. Because of Feng Ling, she has always been burdened with the so-called expectations, the so-called other people's children, but Feng Tian and the others have no idea how tired she is and how unwilling she is to be a good child. But after Feng Ling left, she was the only one left. She was forced to move forward and could not look back. It's all Feng Ling. If it weren't for Feng Ling, things wouldn't be like this at all. At this moment, Feng Shuang's heart was full of hatred, as if the whole world was against her. But what she didn't know was that Feng Ling was also forced to become a poor student in the eyes of parents and teachers. How can a 12-year-old child control the existence of people with special abilities? Feng Shuang didn't know, nor did Feng Tian and his wife. At this moment, she couldn't explain it to others. After all, the matter has been resolved, and the rest, whether it is public opinion or criminal law, has nothing to do with her anymore. In the end, Feng Shuang was sentenced to 5 years. 5 years was enough to ruin her life. It was night. Feng Ling came to the cemetery again, and Ye Qinghan accompanied her again. Originally, she came here by herself, but she didn't know that this man had the ability to predict things. When she arrived, he was already waiting for her at the cemetery. What Feng Ling could say, of course he could only let him follow her. She can't say it's not right if her legs are on someone else's body. Congratulations. Today Ye Qinghan's first words when he saw her were this, I'll take you for a supper later. Late night snacks will make you fat. You are not in the entertainment industry, Ye King Han said. Feng Ling blinked. Why didn't she mix up? She just didn't use this name to mix up. The two characters Feng Qi have long occupied a place in the entertainment industry. However, you are right. After all, Feng Ling is not in the entertainment industry. Moreover, if the guess is correct, this dog man should take her to have an ice cream dinner. In front of ice cream, all principles can be said goodbye. Feng Ling licked her lips and suddenly felt that she was hungry. Then let's set off now. You're not here. Ye King Han looked at the two lonely graves. Feng Ling waved her hand and said, I will report to them that their daughter has been imprisoned for 5 years. Maybe no one will come to see them in these 5 years, although no one came in the previous 3 years. Ye King Han. This is quite heartbreaking. Fortunately, they are already dead. He glanced at the tree growing behind the two tombstones. Good guy, the last leaf has fallen off. In the end, the two people stayed in the cemetery for less than 5 minutes before leaving. Just listen to the desolate thing. What happened to Feng Shuang shocked the entire Luo city, especially Lingyang High School, which caused a huge wave. All Feng Shuang's admirers couldn't believe that their goddess was actually the real murderer 3 years ago. And Feng Ling, whom they had always been hostile to, was actually an innocent person. This is a huge blow to everyone. After all, Feng Shuang's results are worlds apart from Feng Ling's. Oh no, Feng Ling's results last time didn't seem to be bad. But no matter what, Feng Ling was a completely poor student before. In their perception, Feng Ling is more in line with the characteristics of this murderer. How could it be Feng Shuang? There are also rumors circulating outside that Feng Shuang united with the people of the first class to kill Yun Miao. How is this possible? They have no idea at all. It was Yun Miao who raised herself too high and was unwilling to give them face. This has nothing to do with them. What does it matter? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 155. Chapter 155. Do you want to go back for revenge? Asshole. Li family. Li Yishan was slapped to the ground by Father Li. This was the second time Father Li hit her with such force. The last time, it was also because of Feng Ling. Do you know who Feng Shuang is? Are you treating her as your master by protecting her like this? Now that everything has come to light, his daughter actually said that Feng Shuang was innocent and asked him to save her. Not to mention whether Feng Shuang is innocent or not, even the Ye family behind Feng Ling is not something they can afford to offend. Father Li looked at Li Yishan angrily. Li Yishan, do you want to destroy our Li family's century-old foundation? Now everyone's eyes are looking at Feng Shuang, which gives the Li family a chance to breathe. But as for Li Yishan, she actually wants to lead a group of classmates to fight against the law. That's the law. Now that the evidence is conclusive, what, did she want to use his little Li family to destroy other people's courts? It's simply whimsical. Both are innocent. Dad, you also watched the live broadcast. If it weren't for Feng Ling, how could Shuang be forced into the state by her parents? She was unintentional, but Feng Ling was not innocent. If Feng Ling didn't disappoint her parents, how could both of them endure this? I have to say that Li Yishan's brain circuit is quite strange, at least at this time. Father Li pointed at Li Yishan with trembling hands, but found that he no longer knew what to say. How could he give birth to such a fool as Li Yishan? What people do is their business. Did they put a knife to Feng Shuang's neck and let her kill? Did people force Feng Shuang to pass the exam? Whose child doesn't have troubles? It's miserable for her, Feng Shuang, to have such a pair of parents, but aren't her Feng Ling's parents Feng Shuang's parents? He didn't believe that Feng Ling's results wouldn't be blamed by her parents, but they didn't tell her, and Feng Shuangshuang didn't care either. Feng Ling received no less verbal attacks than Feng Shuangshuang. Why didn't she think of killing someone? You should bear the consequences of what you have done. His idiot daughter still wants to go into someone else's prison to fish for someone else. She is an idiot. You are not allowed to go out for me during this period. Finally, Father Li left an order and left. Li Yishan looked at her father in disbelief, as if she couldn't believe that he was such a coward. What happened to the law? Does it mean the law is correct? Shuang is obviously the victim. Everything was done by Feng Ling. It was Feng Ling's scheming that made Shuang embark on the road of no return step by step. Why didn't anyone help her? How frightened both of us must be in prison now. Li Yishan overthinks. Feng Shuang is indeed in prison, and she is also very scared, but her fear is not because she is in prison, but... Who are you? As soon as Feng Shuang woke up, she saw a man standing in front of her, smiling strangely. His whole body was shrouded in black, and she could not see his appearance at all. She only knew that his aura was so strong that she did not dare to look directly at his face. Inexplicably, I feel like I want to surrender. You don't have to worry about who I am, I just want to ask you one question. Do you want to take revenge? The man's cold voice sounded. Feng Shuang pursed her lips and said, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you mean. No, the man shook his finger, I think you should understand, girl. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 156. Chapter 156. She wants to become stronger. Aren't you curious why Feng Ling came back 3 years later and suddenly everything has improved and her grades have become so good? Or, don't you want to know what happened when she was 12 years old? Isn't it all because of Feng Ling that your life has undergone earth-shaking changes? Don't you want to know all this? The man's voice was extremely tempting, and Feng Shuang had to admit that she wanted to, and wanted to do it very much. Since Feng Ling was 12 years old, she often became mysterious, never coming home day and night. At first, they even suspected that Feng Ling had been abducted. The longest one even lasted half a month, and that time was also the time on her birthday 3 years ago. Wanting to know, there is a price. Men seem to capture girls' minds very skillfully. Feng Shuang was defeated. She knew that she was being dragged away by this man. The funny thing was that she had no choice but to do anything. I want to know what the price you are talking about is. Follow me, change your appearance, and live with another identity, and I will give you everything you want, but to get it all, you will suffer great pain. Pain, Feng Shuang sneered, looking at her blue and white striped prison uniform, feeling desolate in her heart. No matter how great the pain is, will it still be as severe as what I am enduring now? I promise you, but I can't get out now. I will find a way to get you out without you having to worry. The man chuckled, and Feng Shuang heard him snap his fingers, and a person exactly like her appeared next to her. Feng Shuang was startled. This is Puppet, the man explained. She will live here instead of you, and you, follow me. How did you do that? The surprise in Feng Shuang's eyes was self-evident. This is simply anti-human. The place I take you to, everyone has abilities like this, and this ability is different for everyone. So does your sister. Feng Shuang seemed to understand something. So Feng Ling often didn't go home, so Feng Ling's grades deteriorated sharply from the age of 12. Because she wants to hide such an ability, because once such an ability is known to the outside, she is likely to be regarded as a research object, is that right? So if The man saw Feng Shuang's intention. Put away the thoughts in your mind. Our existence is allowed by the state. If you accidentally tell other useless trash like you will be the only one who will be destroyed in the end. Don't try to control us all. You should know how powerful this ability is. After snapping her fingers, Feng Shuang saw the extremely twisted door. After another snap of the fingers, the door returned to its original state. The man leaned close to her ear, his voice hoarse. Look, I want to kill you, it's easy, and it's silent. I won't say it. Feng Shuang was frightened. She both envied and feared this ability. However, the desire in her heart forced her to pursue such an ability. Because she knew that once she had such an ability, she would have the ability to fight Feng Ling. And this is what she has been looking forward to for a long time. She needs to become stronger. Seeing Feng Shuang's change, the man nodded with satisfaction. This is my good boy. Don't worry, as long as you behave, I will hand over the entire alliance to you. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 157. Chapter 157. The grudge is resolved. Yun Kai told Feng Ling that a new member of the Te Lian team had recently joined the team and that they had lost many god-level figures in PK. The Te Lian team attached great importance to her and seemed to want to elevate her to a high level. Specials have levels. Levels 1 to 60 are the lowest level of ordinary special ability users. Levels 60 to 80 are those with intermediate special abilities. Levels 80 to 90 are those with advanced special abilities. At level 90 and above, they are the most secretive existences in the Special Alliance. It is said that there are only 6 people. Zero's departure 3 years ago left this secretive organization with only 5 people. Now, this new person seems to be replacing Zero and becoming the new brain of the Alliance. Luo Cheng didn't know what he was thinking about all day long. A newcomer who has just arrived for a few days, without even knowing the details, actually let people join a secret organization. Does he even know where Tyrion is? The secret organization is also called the Hidden Group. Once the things involved are leaked, it will be irreversible for the entire world. Luo Cheng is so careless. Yun Kai was also furious before he called Feng Ling. When Feng Ling answered the phone, Ye Qinghan was in math class, so she walked out without saying hello. Ye Qinghan raised his eyebrows and said, "Forget it, you will accept what you love." Luo Cheng has always been cautious in doing things, and there is only one reason for him to do this, and that is to confirm that this new person is within his control. Master, send this newcomer's information to my computer. I want to investigate. Feng Ling's tone was very serious, unprecedentedly serious. Yun Kai has never seen Feng Ling look so serious. You are suspicious. Luo Cheng has different intentions, Feng Ling said. In fact, when she left 3 years ago, she had doubts about Luo Cheng, but Luo Cheng never gave them any clues about what he did. At that time, the scope of his activities was also very small. Without conclusive evidence, it was impossible for the Alliance to convict him. What's more, Feng Ling's eyes darkened. Luo Cheng was the one who led her into the Alliance back then. Now, she seems to be standing on the opposite side of this guide. Yun Kai could understand Feng Ling's thoughts. Ling, how confident are you against Luo Cheng? 1%. Feng Ling smiled bitterly. Master, you also know that Luo Cheng is the founder of the Alliance, and everything we learned was taught by him. Although I once regarded him as my father, in the true sense he is another master of mine. He knows my path better than anyone else. It is difficult to surpass Luo Cheng. It is very difficult. Luo Cheng is another secret weapon in the Alliance besides her. They are both different and similar, and the most terrifying thing is the similarity. Luo Cheng knows it even better than herself. Master, you also said that the tree wants to be quiet but the wind does not stop. Now that the wind has picked up, I must go all out, no matter who the opponent is. I just want to live quietly. For this, I will go through fire and water without hesitation. Good. Yunkai nodded and then said, Ling Ling, there seems to be some movement in the Blood Evil Alliance recently. Please be careful. He still remembers the grudge between Feng Ling and the God Killer. Now that alien species are raging, and the God-killing side is frequently dispatched, Luo Cheng seems to want to deal with Feng Ling again. Feng Ling's safety. Master, the grudge between God Killer and I has been settled, you don't have to worry about this anymore. Resolved, resolved. How? Yunkai blinked. That was a grudge that would lead to a happy life for the rest of his life. Was it resolved like this? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 158. Chapter 158, Choosing a Good Brother. That boy who killed God must be a little too ambitious. Even though he is Feng Ling's master, if someone almost ruins his happy life for the rest of his life, he won't forgive them in a few words. However, that kid who killed God was also at fault. He injured his disciple so seriously that he lay in intensive care for almost half a month before he came out. That girl, Feng Ling, was the only one whose body could recover on its own. If it had been anyone else, her soul would have passed away long ago. Yunkai wondered, is this the legendary love and death? Feng Ling twitched her mouth. She really couldn't say how to solve this problem. It was probably Ye Qinghan who was eyeing her because Ling didn't realize that she was Ling, and she didn't recognize that Ye Qinghan was the God Killer. Two people met through their social identities. After a long time of knowing each other, when they discover another level of identity, some things disappear inexplicably. You say she hates him, she does. After all, she has never been in such a bad situation, but Ye Qinghan is not much better. She and Ye Qinghan can only be said to be acquaintances without fighting. That's why the beating was a bit harsh. Master, in short, killing God and I met in Luo City. We didn't know each other's identities when we met, we only found out recently. This has already matured, and it is hard to bring up what happened back then. What's more, it's better to have one more friend than one more enemy. Even though that man Ye Qinghan is a dog, he is still very loyal. How should I put it? He is a good candidate to be a brother. A sneeze. Ye Qinghan, who was still having a remote meeting on the other side, suddenly sneezed. He rubbed his nose, wondering if the little girl missed him again. It seemed like he hadn't seen her for a while. Feng Ling, no. We just met yesterday. If killing God becomes friends with you, things will be easier to handle. Yunkai's old eyes lit up. Feng Ling was stunned for a moment. Master, what do you mean? Although the Blood Fiend Alliance has hardly appeared in the past 3 years, its foundation is still there in its heyday. The Blood Fiend Alliance was almost as good as the Alliance. At that time, what the Blood Evil Alliance showed was only what it wanted to show us. Now, even though 3 years have passed, the foundation of the Blood Evil Alliance is definitely not bad. Now that the Alliance is in civil strife, everyone has been running around to find a suitable place to defect. Ling, you might as well cooperate with God Killer. Develop the Blood Evil Alliance into a new alliance. The God Killer will not agree, and neither will everyone in the Blood Fiend Alliance. The facts stated by Feng Ling. But no matter what, it is impossible for the Blood Evil Alliance to develop into another special alliance. Ling, but this is the only way. Yunkai frowned. He didn't understand what Feng Ling said, but now, time waits for no one. Master, what if it's a Blood Evil Alliance or a Blood Evil Alliance? What's the meaning? Yunkai's pupils shrank sharply, and a premonition rose in his heart. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 159. Chapter 159, came here overnight to kill you. No matter which organization it is, there will always be internal strife, and internal strife that's because they are blinded by the interest in front of them. On the contrary, an organization like the Blood Evil Alliance that was built with passion will be purer. Master, instead of turning the Blood Evil Alliance into another special alliance, it is better to let the Blood Evil Alliance develop according to its own path. I also want to know how far the Blood Evil Alliance will develop in the future. Now that Yekinghan has decided to reappear in everyone's sight, it means that the Blood Evil Alliance will have an influx of new blood. She has decided to join the Blood Evil Alliance with a new identity. Perhaps, unexpected chemical reactions will occur? The corners of Fen Ling's lips curled up slightly. Yun Kai was silent for a long time on the other side. He knew very well the current attitude of the Special Alliance towards the Blood Evil Alliance. If Fen Ling is like this, it means that she is completely opposed to Te Lian. However, as Fen Ling's master, he also knows that his apprentice is a stickler, and he cannot persuade her. What's more, Luo Cheng already has murderous intentions towards Fen Ling, so maybe it's not impossible to let her go to the Blood Evil Alliance. Ling Ling, protect yourself. Yun Kai finally said the sentence. Fen Ling knew clearly that Yun Kai agreed. The corners of her eyes turned slightly red. Master, you too. After hanging up the phone, Fen Ling's doorbell rang. It means the night is cold. What's wrong? Go and see the old man, Yekinghan said in a nonchalant tone. Fen Ling twitched her mouth. Ye Feng had been staying at the FL Research Institute for almost a month, and he hadn't even taken a look at him. Now that he suddenly passed by, there might be something wrong. She didn't think that Yekinghan would suddenly care about Ye Feng's life and death. You drive. Let's go. Yekinghan raised his eyebrows, agreeing to Fen Ling's request. If it were placed in the Blood Evil Alliance, it might scare the eyes of many people. After all, where in the Blood Evil Alliance would anyone dare to speak to Yekinghan like this and let him drive? It would be impossible for him to be fine in this life. FL Research Institute, Ye Feng's condition has been controlled by Fen Ling with drugs. Although he is no longer tortured to the point of death, it is impossible for him to have the strength to move around. When he heard the door opening, Ye Feng subconsciously turned his head. During these days, he has gone from being angry at the beginning to despair now. Sometimes he even thought about dying, but he was afraid of death, otherwise he would not have thought about asking for change in the first place. But I didn't expect that even though he was found, they didn't plan to save him, all because of Yekinghan. If it weren't for Yekinghan, how could Ling not save him? So, when Ye Feng saw Yekinghan, he became excited again. Why is it you? What are you doing here? Ye Feng wanted to express his anger, but due to the illness, he now had no strength at all. Looking unimpressive. Let me see you, Yekinghan said expressionlessly. Fen Ling curled her lips. With your attitude, you are just here to see someone. The night has disappeared. Ye Qing looked at Ye Feng coldly. The shock was clearly visible in his eyes. The day you died, Ye Ji disappeared. He took away almost 2/3 of the top management of the Ye family. Yekinghan spoke slowly, as if the safety of the Ye family had nothing to do with him. A few days ago, he recreated a new Ye family and became the head of the family. Ye Fen, tell me, if I tell him now that you are here, will he come over and kill you overnight? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 160. Chapter 160 Ghost Girl. Yekinghan obviously saw Ye Feng's pupils shrink. He knew Ye Feng's thoughts very well, and was not willing to waste words with Ye Feng, so he directly confronted him. What did Ye Ji promise you to protect him like this? If nothing else happens, the people in the Ye family who support my father should all be killed by Ye Ji. I don't know what you're talking about, Ye Feng's mood suddenly fluctuated. Who knows if he wanted to kill Zai so that he couldn't take the others out independently? Now if you want to throw all the blame on Zai, don't even think about it. Fen Ling frowned while listening. Ye Feng, Ye Qinghan probably doesn't have the heart to kill anyone from the Ye family. The Blood Fiend Alliance has nothing, not to mention, they are bound by legal documents. Once a person with special abilities is found to have killed an ordinary person, the consequences will be extremely serious. Ye Qinghan will not do it because the deal is not cost-effective. Neither she nor Ye Qinghan would do it. But Ye Feng didn't know that. He glared at Fen Ling and said, "What do you know? He is a murderer. I should have killed him when he was still in his mother's belly. If he had not been born, none of this would have happened." "Will not happen." Ye Feng struggled like crazy, as if he wanted to kill Ye Qinghan. Fen Ling glanced at him and gave Ye Feng a sedative. "If you have anything else to ask, wait until he wakes up." "Violence," Ye Qinghan complained silently. Then Fen Ling rolled his eyes. "Am I violent? Brother Ye, why not take a look at yourself, you black-hearted dog man?" "Dog man?" Ye Qinghan narrowed his eyes, and his breath was a little bad. Fen Ling touched her nose awkwardly. "Oops," she accidentally said what she was thinking. "What? I have something else to do, so I'll leave first." Fen Ling turned around stiffly, but the collar around her neck was grabbed by a hand. A man's new voice came from behind. "Maybe you can explain to me first what a dog man means." "Fen Ling, Liang. A grown man doesn't need to be so careful about his words, right?" Fen Ling was pinned in the corner by Ye Qinghan. Every room in the FL Institute was extremely soundproofed. Even if she called someone now, they wouldn't be able to hear her. At this moment, Fen Ling extremely regretted that she had made the core of the laboratory so strong. "Now I can't even call for help." "Dog man, what do you mean?" Ye Qinghan raised his eyebrows, as if he didn't want to let Fen Ling go. "Fen Ling, sure enough, you still can't say what's on your mind often, otherwise, you'll accidentally say it out in real life, like now." "God killing, great God, wrong, a slip of the tongue." It really was a slip of the tongue. Fen Ling had an excellent attitude in admitting her mistake. "Is it a slip of the tongue?" Ye Qinghan didn't quite believe it. However, seeing how sincere Fen Ling was, he let her go for now, since they would still be singing in the future. Ye Qinghan snorted and held Fen Ling's hand in place. "There will be another time, Fen Ling. Boss, don't worry, there will never be a next time, because next time, she will only curse in her heart, like now, you are a bitch." If she couldn't beat him, she wouldn't admit her mistake. Snort. Fen Ling took advantage of the moment when Ye Qinghan turned around to make a face. Ye Qinghan always felt that something was not right, but when he turned around, he found that Fen Ling was smiling cutely. Ye Qinghan sighed, "What a ghost girl. I definitely don't know how to scold him." End of this chapter.